Well, it has been a roller coaster of a day, a real emotional ringer for Mavs fans and yours truly, especially. First of all, pour one out to the late great JJ, my dude, my boy. The past 11 years, I lost him this morning, and I am a bit torn up about it right now. But to do my service to the community and everything, I'm jumping on here just for this quick video to talk about a major Mavericks move. The ugly breakup of the front office continues to get uglier. Rick Carlisle has resigned from the Dallas Mavericks. He's been here since 2008 and obviously won the franchise its lone championship. This is after multiple meetings this week with Mark Cuban, which to me signals that he very much was not in favor of the Mavericks parting ways with GM Donnie Nelson, which even though the Mavericks said it was mutual, we found out after the fact it was not mutual. The Mavericks forced Donnie out. Hang on here real quick. So, with that being the case, with Donnie being out, we keep finding out more and more. Tim Cato's article was dead on the money. And I told you when Mark Cuban pushed back the way he did, as vociferously, as heated and immediate as he did, that was acknowledgement that there was truth to it. I'm not saying it's 100% true, but the more things have played out since that article dropped, Monday? God, this feels like a long week. Monday, the more things have played out, the more obvious it's become that that article was really uncovering a lot of ugly skeletons in the closet. Because now, we find out as things continue to develop, part of the tension between Donnie and the Mavericks stemmed from Harlow not staying in his lane, as Donnie's camp put it. Essentially, when the Mavericks were trying to make trades in recent years, the opposing teams in the deal could have conversations with Donnie, which would kind of outline one school of thought for how this deal could work. And then they would also have conversations with Harlow, which would go a completely different direction. And Donnie was frustrated that this analytics guy was stepping outside of his boundary and messing things up, making things difficult for Donnie in terms of just doing his job, the GM and president of basketball operations. That is a bad indicator of the stability and the general productivity and chi, if you will, of a good, healthy front office. The Mavericks have not looked like that. And it got worse because apparently after Donnie was let go, again, that news came down Monday? Maybe Tuesday. Regardless, that news came down and we found out immediately after that decision was made that Rick Carlisle started having meetings with Mark Cuban to try and determine his place and reassure him of where things were headed. Remember, the original brain trust was Mark, Donnie, and Rick. Donnie left. The article also alleged that the Mavericks lineups and even their rotations were impacted by Harlow's analytic models and input. I said, I don't know how Rick could tolerate that if that were true. Well, Rick left. And unless this is purely a protest resigning in favor of Donnie getting a raw deal, he thinks, or in opposition, in protest of Donnie getting a raw deal, it seems like after Donnie left, Mark basically said, hey man, here's our vision moving forward. And Rick basically, after several conversations, he loves it in Dallas. He's been here, 13 years. He wanted to stay, but it sounds like eventually he got to a point where he just said, no, this doesn't work for me anymore. And the fact that Rick effectively fired the Mavericks organization and not the other way around says a lot. It's deafening in how much it has to say. It's one thing if you're saying, hey, as an organization, we're going in a different direction. We're moving on from this GM and we're moving on from this head coach. Okay, that's not what you're getting in the case of Rick. The coach said, I don't believe in your vision and I don't think this is working anymore. I don't know what's going to happen with Harlebo. Like, his contract is set to expire at the end of this summer. However, that doesn't mean that he won't stay involved with the organization or move into a new contract in a new position. I'm not saying he's going to be the new general manager. I hope to hell he's not. But there are candidates out there for that job, one of which we've heard is emerging as the front runner, that being the Mavericks' own great Michael Finley. Finley has done a VP of basketball operations role in recent years, and he got Mark Cuban's full vote of confidence to what's the word I'm looking for here? Interview, basically, for the job with the Bulls. So Cuban believes in him enough that he was willing to put his support behind him for that role. It would not shock me if this were shaping up to be a situation where Mark wants to say, look, I and apparently Harlebo have a clear vision of what we want to do. The other people in this brain trust didn't really see eye to eye with this, so we moved on, or they moved on because they weren't going to get on board. We want to see now, will Michael Finley, if that's who they pick, a guy that they brought up, and as far as Finley's entire front office career, it's here in Dallas. I think they're going to want to see, like, will he work within our vision? And that's, I'm not saying necessarily that they're looking for a yes man, but I think why that might appeal to them more than going and getting, and like I said, I've been through an emotional ringer today, so I'm blanking on names here. The guy from the Raptors, why that might appeal more to them to go Finley instead is Finley, one, he's already here. He doesn't have to come in and make an assessment of what's wrong. Two, it's a guy that you've kind of groomed for the role the past 5 or so years. And so for him to step up, one, he's going to be grateful to you because you're giving him an opportunity he's never had before. And two, I think as well, there's a shared vision to that front. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I don't think that it's total opposition at the very least, whereas I think if you do bring in someone from the outside, particularly someone who's won a championship with another organization, they're going to come in and they're going to be like, dude, I'm going to give you the brutal truth. I'm going to tell you exactly what's wrong. And you're not going to want to hear it, but we're going to address it because we're getting down to business here. The appeal for any GM coming into Dallas is pure and simple Luka Doncic. That's it. That's it. That's it. Before, your selling points would have been, hey, we got this GM who has found these gems in the past. Dirk, Nash. He didn't find Luka, but you know what I mean. Like, who's done very well in that department. And you have a championship caliber head coach that is still highly respected around the league and still viewed as a top end coach. And you have the 22-year-old prodigy. Now you just got the 22-year-old prodigy, and there's fears on that front. So, unsurprisingly, in the wake of Rick's departure, we're hearing that there has been tension simmering between Luka and Rick here in the last year or so. And you see that on the sideline. You see that in timeouts. We've talked about it in the show. We've talked about it on streams and in post-game shows and all of that. Inadvised timeouts at crucial moments, one of which was in Game 6 against the Clippers, when Dallas seesawed ahead in I think it was late third quarter, early fourth quarter. Seesawed ahead, it was early fourth quarter, and had gone on a 5-0 run and got the ball, and Rick took a bad timeout. And Luka was screaming at him, we don't need an effing timeout here, because the substitution allowed the Clippers to get 2 bad defenders off the floor. Defenders Dallas had been targeting on prior possessions as they started to make this run. So that's That's the kind of thing there where we see that tension. And it's very well highlighted and documented on Mavs Twitter and elsewhere. But it's still a thing where, like, I know Luka had a press conference this morning and he said that he's disappointed in the departure of Donnie Nelson, that he's known him since he was a kid. Donnie's been scouting him for years and years, we know, and he liked him a lot. But at the same time, he says, I'm not the one making decisions, so it kind of is what it is. Again, I don't doubt that Luka likes him. I mean, he's telling you, I like him. I don't like that this happened. I don't know either, though, that it's fair to chalk it up and say, like, yeah, this is going to impact anything. Like, no, he told us he's still going to sign his Supermax contract this summer. That was said in the press conference. Like, yes, he still intends to sign it. Then the Rick thing drops later in the afternoon, and now I'm like, ooh, man, you're really playing with his notion of how stable things are. I don't know, man. I don't know how much faith I have in what Mark Cuban's doing, because it hasn't worked for a long time, and now it seems like he's got this dude in his ear telling him all this stuff. And, like, there are fair arguments to be made against Rick, fair arguments to be made against Donnie, and those have been made. We have made them as well. However, you're banking the franchise on a non-basketball guy's assessment of roster building and lineup rotations, and it's horrifying. It is horrifying to consider, especially when his track record's not that good. It's not. The best move since he came into Dallas that was detailed was the decision to sign Seth Curry, and then he flipped him the next summer for Josh Richardson, which was a disastrous, at least in the immediate presence, a disastrous decision. Curry had 34 points the other night, I think. Richardson had 34 points the entire first 7-game series against the Clippers this year. He was unplayable. He really was. Unless you needed free throws in the final moments, he was unplayable. His plus-minus was wretched. But that's what they did, man. Like, I don't know what Mark's trying to do. It seems like he's putting everything in this analytics guy, with whom Luka also has documented tension, apparently. So it's like, he's not liked in the organization by other sources in the front office and other people, like the scouting department and stuff. He's not liked by your superstar player. He wasn't liked by your head coach, and he wasn't liked by your previous GM and president of basketball operations. So what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know. I don't know if Michael Finley's going to be the new GM. I don't know if he's going to be the new president of basketball operations. Again, Donnie had 2 titles, so maybe you split the difference. Maybe one of these guys gets one of those titles and the other gets the other. And maybe that's the new brain trust. Harlebo, Finley, Mark. I don't know. I would like at this point for Dallas to look outside of itself, because as we've seen in recent free agencies, they don't really look outside of themselves all that much. I'd like them to change that approach at least. Like, okay, if we're going to do this, fine, let's do this. Let's get that premium GM in here, and let's actually do a real assessment and introspection of the state of our franchise. And let's figure this shit out. Not let's just keep, like, going down the path we're going. The path you're going's not working. And to overhaul it in this way, it feels like a monumental risk for a big reward. But it's like, you don't have to play the monumental risk for this particular reward. There are other paths that aren't as risky and can still get you where you need to go. So I don't know. I don't know what Dallas is doing here. I am very troubled by this development, and man, today's been hard. We'll see, man. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll post another video when I know more. I'll dig into it. There's more I want to say, but honestly, my mind's running blank at this point. So, yeah. To the late, great JJ. And until next time, guys, salute. Peace.